Mater, Latin, mother. Matter, atoms are made of small parts of matter. Those atoms go on to build the things you see and touch every day. Build back better, New World Order. Matter is defined as anything that has mass and takes up space. Pater, pater, Latin, father, pattern. Give a regular or intelligible form. Repeated or regular. Way in which arrangement of lines, shapes, especially a design in which the same shape is repeated at regular intervals over a surface. Matter. Atoms and compounds are made of small parts of matter. Those atoms go on to build the things you see and touch every day. Matter is defined as anything that has mass and takes up space. Because God, science, and we said so. This foreword is by John F. Kennedy Jr. Sorry, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I'm going to read an excerpt. However, she also described tumors induced by the SV40 viral agent in monkey kidney cells. Her NIH supervisor angrily reprimanded Eddy for mentioning the discovery publicly and banned her from public health crisis statements. Eddy argued for publication of her work on the virus, casting the contaminated vaccine supply on an urgent public health crisis. Agency bigwigs stonewalled publication, allowing Merck and Park Davis to continue marketing the oncogenic vaccine to millions of American adults and children. On July 26th, 1961, oh, and this is where I want to have a small, speaking of July, my name is Candace Morris, and I'm a mandatory reporter of child abuse because I'm a Tennessean and a citizen of the United States of America, where at Fort Campbell, near my hometown of Ashland City in Cheatham County, Fort Campbell, there were and may still be 200 soldiers of the 3rd Brigade being intimidated and quarantined in a 25-mile quarantine in COVID barracks. And they say that by July, they're going to be busted down to private if they don't take the shot by July. And they're going to have to do extra duty, have restrictions. They've been being questioned by the high-ranking officials. And They also will have ammo restrictions on soldiers who will be labeled with extremism if they do not take the vaccine. And this was something I heard by a whistleblower. So yeah. So I think we should say, I'm Unity, Immunity Mutiny. I'm Unity. Okay, on July 26, 1961, the New York Times reported that Merck and Parke-Davis were withdrawing their Salk vaccines. The article said nothing about cancer. The Times ran the story next to an account about overdue library fines on page 33. Even though Merck and Parke-Davis recalled their polio vaccines, in 1961, NIH officials refused to pursue a total recall of the rest of the supply, fearing reputational injury to the vaccine program if Americans learned that PHS had infected them with the cancer-producing virus. As a result, millions of unsuspecting Americans received carcinogenic vaccines between 1961 and 1963. The Public Health Service then concealed that secret for 40 years. In total, 98 million Americans received shots potentially containing the cancer-producing virus, which is now part of the human genome. In 1996, government researchers identified SV40 in 23% of the blood specimens and 45% of the sperm specimens collected from healthy adults. 6% of the children born between 1980 and 1995 are infected. Public health officials gave millions of people the vaccine for years after they knew it was infected. They contaminated humanity with a monkey virus and refused to admit what they'd done. Whoa, now we got a bat virus, Project Warp Speed. Today, SV40 is used in research laboratories throughout the world because it's so highly reliably carcinogenic. Researchers use it to produce a wide variety of bone, soft tissue cancers, including mesothelioma, and brain tumors in animals. These cancers have exploded in the baby boom generation, which received the Salk and Sabin polio vaccines between 1955 and 1963. Skin cancers are up by 70%. Lymphoma and prostate by 66%. Brain cancer by 34%. Prior to 1950, mesothelioma was rare in humans. Today, doctors diagnose nearly 3,000 Americans with mesothelioma every year. 60% of the tumors that were tested contain SV40. Today, scientists find SV40 in a wide range of deadly tumors, including between 33, there we have it again, guys, 33% and 90% of brain tumors. 8 of 8 indiomas, and nearly half of the bone tumors tested. In successive measures, NIH forbade Bernice Eddy from speaking publicly or attending scholarly conferences, held up her papers, removed her from vaccine research altogether, and eventually destroyed her animals and took away access to her labs. Her treatment continues to mark an enduring scandal with the scientific community. Yet NIH's Bernice Eddy playbook has become a standardized template for federal vaccine regulators in their treatment of dissident vaccine scientists who seek to tell the truth about vaccines. Dr. John Anthony Morris was a bacteriologist and virologist who worked for 36 years at NIH and the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, beginning in 1940. Morris served as the chief vaccine officer for the Bureau of Biological Standards at the National Institute of Health and later with the FDA. When the BBS transferred to that agency in the 1970s, Dr. Morris irked his superiors by arguing that the research carried out by his unit demonstrated there was no reliable proof that flu vaccines were effective in preventing influenza. In particular, he accused a supervisor of being HHS's mass vaccination program for the swine flu primarily on a scientifically baseless fear campaign and on false claims made by pharmaceutical manufacturers. He warned that the vaccine was dangerous and could induce neurological injuries. Wow, guys, because Joe Biden says we're fixing to be full of Alzheimer's people with neurological damage. In just a couple years, everyone's brains are going to go downhill for some weird reason, guys. And Joe Biden says this while Kamala Harris says we're going to have a water war. We're no longer fighting over oil anymore, guys. We're going to start fighting over water. Says Vice President Kamala Harris, and President Joe Biden says that a bunch of people of all kind of ages apparently going to have degenerative brains, neurological injuries. Somebody must have zapped them with the church juice. They're just spilling the beans, guys. He warned that the vaccine was dangerous and could induce neurological injuries. His CDC superior warned Dr. Morris, "I would advise you not to talk about this." When vaccine recipients began reporting adverse reactions, including Guillain-Barré, Dr. Morris disobeyed that order and went public. He declared that the flu vaccine was ineffective, potentially dangerous, and said that he could find no evidence that the swine flu was dangerous or that it would spread from human to human. In retaliation, FDA officials confiscated his research materials, changed the locks on his laboratory, reassigned his laboratory staff, blocked his efforts to publish his findings, and the FDA assigned Dr. Morris to a small room with no telephone. Anyone who wished to see him had to secure permission from the chief of the lab. In 1976, HHS fired Dr. Morris on the pretext that he failed to return library books on time. Wow. We go from that right over here to talking about the New York Times. Check this out. The Times ran that story to an account about overdue library funds on page 33. Okay? Remember that. Because down here, today scientists find SV40 in a wide range of deadly tumors, including between 33% and 90% of brain tumors. And guys, over here, anyone who wished to see him had to secure permission. Dr. Morris was fired on the pretext that he failed to return library books on time. Subsequent events supported Dr. Morris's skepticism about the swine flu shot. The 1976 swine flu vaccination program was so fraught with problems that the government discontinued inoculations after 49 million people had received the vaccine. Among the vaccine's victims were 500 cases of Guillain-Barré, including 200 people paralyzed. And guess what? You guessed it, guys. 33 people dead. There's 33 again. Furthermore, the incidence of swine flu among vaccinated was 7 times greater than among those who were unvaccinated. according to news reports. Furthermore, the incidence of swine flu among vaccinated was 7 times greater than among those who were unvaccinated. Wow, guys. Fauci, ouchie. Fauci, ouchie. Fauci, ouchie. Qi Gong Song. Wow, opera war sea. Fauci, ouchie. Fauci, ouchie. Fauci, ouchie. Qi Gong Song. We don't pray for the people with the flu no more. We don't pray for the people with the flu no more. We don't pray anymore. We keep doing whatever they tell us to do. In fact, that includes watching us do. We don't pray anymore. Shock, isolation, indoctrination, promise of reward. We can't say Stockholm without saying Stockholm, and we can't say indoctrination without saying indoctrination. We can't say culture unless we say cult first. We can't say indoctrination without saying indoctrination. Fauci, ouchie. Fauci, ouchie. Fauci, ouchie. Qi Gong Song. So low, like elf waves. So low, like trolls. So low, like elf waves. So low, mind control. My mind is dirty, and they can't brainwash me, 'cause I've got the recipe, and they'll have to lick the conspiracy out of me. New world orders, take your last lick, 'cause I am that head games loving dick. So zap 'em with the truth juice. Zap 'em with the truth juice. Lift their ass up out of hell. Taking them out to show and tell. Show your work. Follow the money paper trail. There 'cause they're ruthless. Zap 'em with the truth juice. Wrath of the robot ladies. Wrath of the robot ladies. Wrath of the robot ladies. These demons are my muse. So low, like elf waves. So low, like trolls. So low, like elf waves. So low, mind control. And I'm a walking seance. I'm a walking seance. I'm a walking seance. Demons, get behind me. You should come over and take a bath with me. We could get baptized in each other's energy. So zap 'em with the truth juice. Zap 'em with the truth juice. Lift their ass up out of hell. We're taking 'em out to show and tell their truth